Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Chastity and I like to sew things, whether that be bags, shirts, weird period costuming type stuff, which I'm very new at. I just like to make stuff. And today's project is going to be the Scholar Pack by Sophisticated Designs. And the fabrics I'm going to use today, this is capybara, I believe is how that's pronounced, and it's super cute. I am not 100% sure what this is made of. It appears to feel very much soft like flannel, but it has a water resistant, waterproof backing on it, and I wanted to protect this as best that I could, so I'm using HeatnBond liquid vinyl, which is fantastic, and you can do several layers of this if you wanted to. In this case, I did do 2 layers of this. You brush it on, you let it dry, you iron it to seal it in, and then repeat if you would like another layer. And according to the instructions here, you can get it to be like an oilcloth texture. So that is the first exterior, and this is vinyl, pink vinyl. And both of those fabrics, as well as the HeatnBond, I actually got from Amazon, and this stuff is kind of hard to find right now. I've got a notification in with the manufacturer to notify me when more of this is in stock. And for the lining, we are using Fabric Wholesale Direct waterproof canvas, and we are also using this lavender bonded poly, which I believe I got from Tulip Bee. Could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure it's Tulip Bee. We have some pink webbing for the backpack straps, which I also got from Amazon. And we are using the bubblegum thread from Saya Swag, Text 45, as well as Saya's fold over elastic. I love buying her stuff. I really do. She's great. For the zippers on the bag from Wawak, I've got their white with rainbow coils, as well as rainbow zipper pulls. So this bag is going to be for a 10-year-old girl who is both returning to school and she's got a birthday coming up. Her father actually helped me pick out the fabric for this, and I'm super excited to get this going and see how it turns out. Let's get going. So, as everybody knows at this point, we are doing the Scholar Pack, and we're going to start off with some of the internals. We're doing a zipper pocket, a slip pocket, and a sleeve for holding binders or books or folders or what have you inside the bag nice and neat. And I'm going to go ahead and jump on the slip pocket first and come back and show you that in just a minute. I sewed around 3 sides, trimmed my corners, flipped it inside out, flattened all my seams, and basted across the top. And now I am going to put my pink binding over the top and top stitch it down. And there we are. That is the slip pocket for the inside part of the bag. One of the inside pockets. And now I'm going to move on to the sleeve, which I am going to do a little bit different. It wants you to sew the top and bottom edges. However, I would like to have this accent piece on that as well. So I'm going to basically do it almost identical to this, only I'm going to do the bottom edge and I'm going to do the top edge like I did this. So hang tight. So now I've got the bottom edge completely sewn together, flipped wrong sides together, and I basted that top together just like I did on the first one. And now I'm going to take this, I've drawn a line down the center of it, and I am going to align this basted edge with the line I've drawn down the middle, just shy of being on it, so that I can fold it over on both sides of the pocket. And I'll top stitch that down. Okay, that one is also done. And now I'm going to work on the zipper pocket, which, if I'm not mistaken, it goes on the inside of the bag, but on the front side, on the inside. Could be wrong. It's been a hot minute since I've made this one. In fact, maybe I'll show you mine because it's actually the one I use daily. But this will be the zipper pockets. We'll need a lining piece, the zipper and zipper pull, and 2 pocket pieces. And I'm going to set this aside for now. I'm going to get to work on the zipper pocket and show you that here in a sec. So I have got the first part of the pocket attached. I basically marked on the wrong side of the pocket piece with the dimensions that it asked for, and I am going to now fit the zipper. I have already put double-sided tape onto the zipper tape, so that when I put this in here, it stays in place exactly where I want it. And we're going to fit the zipper pull. Now, if you look closely at this side of it is a little bit higher. That means when you put your zipper pull on, that should go through technically first in order for it to line up. So I don't separate it very far because I have a tendency to pull too far and then I can't get it up. But I fit that right side in, fit the left side in, give it a little push and pull through, and we are lined up exactly where we need to be. I'm going to go ahead and fit this zipper into this hole and show you that result here in just a minute. So our pocket is done and completely stitched up and in place, and I am prepared to sew on the slip pocket now. Of course, I've matched up the alignment with where the pattern tells me to, and I'm going to go ahead and sew that in place. Now that the pocket is attached, I've basted around or top stitched around the 3 sides, and then I did rivets up here in the corners to get a little more strength. So that is completely done, and basically I can set that part aside. And then the next part that I'm going to do is I'm going to baste the pocket sides to this lining piece, and once that's together, I will then sandwich in a layer of foam with another lining piece. This lining piece goes to the very back pocket, which is where you'd stick your laptop, tablet, etc. So we're going to do that next. So my basting is done. However, I realized I made a mistake after I basted it, and that was that I forgot to top stitch this bottom part. So I actually picked out the bottom like inch and then went ahead and top stitched it and then basted back down. And now I will go ahead and make my little foam sandwich. This is the inside back part of the big pocket, and this is the inside part of where the laptop pocket's going to go. This piece is actually completely done now and ready for final construction. So I can set this aside and move on to the next step. All right, for our next step, we are going to work on the very front pocket, 2 pockets on the front of the bag. So we've got our capybara, however you say that. That's going to be the top part of the front pocket, And then the bottom part of the front pocket, we've got our pocket lining, and then the actual back side of that pocket, and of course the actual lining piece, foam for padding and structure, and our zipper. The one difference here with the zippers, this is the zipper that I've been using, or I will be using on most of these. However, in this case, I am using the handmade, still rainbow obviously, but it says handmade on it. And that's the only spot that's going to have the handmade. I'm not going to put any kind of handmade tag, like metal tag on this one, since it is, you know, going to be a little girl using it for school. So don't want anything extra to possibly rip out or anything like that. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get started with the lower half of the pocket and show you that here in just a second. Bottom part of the pocket is done. Haven't basted around the side yet, but I'll get to that. I have not yet fit the zipper pull either. I will do that after I do the next step. Zipper pull is now on. The lining side of the pocket on the bottom is in, and it's ready for its next step, which is another foam sandwich. Just one more step before I do my foam sandwich was getting my little label. It just says, you know, Rootsy Creations and handcrafted in Tennessee. I used a little freight check on the threads. That'll dry up. It kind of bled through the thread there, soaked it through, but that's okay. It'll dry. It's all good. And now on to my foam sandwich. Foam sandwich accomplished. Quite content with that. Super cute, I think. And of course, that side. Basically, the front of the bag has this pocket on the front, or these two. Technically, this one big pocket here, and then that's the inside of that pocket. And now that this is done, I can move on to the next step. All right, our next step is going to be the gusset for the front pocket, as well as the lining for that front pocket. And there's quite a bit going on here. There's going to be a pocket in there, another slip pocket, much smaller. It's cute, actually. There's going to be some elastic for pens and a key leash. So I have a hook and a swivel hook, and of course zipper. And this time I have put both the zipper pulls on because there will be no double-sided tape involved. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and start on this and let you see it once it's caught up. Our gusset is together, and I am quite happy with that. You don't even want to know how long it took me to do it, but I got it done. It's tricky with all the curves and the zipper and all that, but definitely take your time. If I can do it, you can do it too. Just go slow. Alright, so we're on to the next part. Okay, so here's where we are so far. We have gotten the very front panel done, which will get attached to the gusset that is also now done. And then that will get attached to this part, which is the lining for that pocket. Now, I'm going to hit the pause button for the night because it is like pushing, I don't know, midnight or so. And I think my puppy and I are ready to take a nap. So I will be back at this tomorrow and we will put the front panel together. But for now, I wish you all a good night. Good morning, everybody. It's a brand new day. It's about 8:30, 8:45 in the morning, something like that. I slept in a little bit. We're going to get back to the front panel assembly, and that means attaching the front panel to the gusset, I'll probably, well, I will tack that down right at the ends after I pin it all together before sewing all the way around. That way it doesn't slide. So I will do that, and then I will attach it to that, wrong side to right side. And then after that, we will do another foam sandwich with the interior opposite side of the bag. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with the front panel to the gusset, and I will show you that here in just a second. I have got everything clipped together. I did have to clip the very bottom corners just a tiny bit of the on the gusset side, and to make that fit nicely in the corners. 100% did not clip into the zipper because, well, you just don't. It could fray. I know some people do, but I'm not willing to take that chance because, you know, kids are hard on things. So I want to make sure that the zipper doesn't fray. So I'm going to go ahead and baste this all the way around. And then after that, it's going to get some fold over elastic. And yeah, once I've got that all situated, I'll show it to you. I've got that all basted together. It looks super cute. It will sit more like this once it's done. I do need to do my fold over elastic to bind around this raw edge because we don't want any raw edges. And the way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to sew it from this side. So what I'm going to do is take my fold over elastic, and I'm going to start from the bottom, and since I'm sewing from this side, this is the side I can see. What I want to make sure of is that I cover the stitches on both sides. So I will make sure that I'm placing it to where those stitches are covered, and then fold it over and clip it. So I'm clipping from this side, I'm not going to see, just to make sure that everything will be completely covered. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Alright, so I have got that all clipped in place with the exception of the bottom, and that's because I need to close this loop. So the way that I do this is I pull this right sides together like so, and then I very simply, and I'm not super picky about what seam allowance I use on this because the fold over elastic is stretchy. So I very simply just make sure that the sides line up really well so it doesn't look wonky after the fact. And then I just go ahead and sew that puppy together. And then, because I do want it to look neat, I will trim out the corners like so. And then, because we don't want it to fray, I'm going to hit it with a little fire. And that will melt down those raw edges. It is polyester, so it melts it together. And then I will just simply clip this around the bottom and then sew it on. And here we go. Okay. We'll go ahead and trim our threads. Had a tiny little issue in this corner where the thread actually shredded. Yeah, I might need to change out my needle. That's probably what that is. But binding is all on, and I did catch it everywhere. See that? And that. And let's flip that just so you can see what it looks like. Of course, all new bags need to be told how to be shaped, and so it'll take a minute for it to get used to how it's supposed to look. Sweet. Yeah. Okay. That is the front panel with the gusset attached, and I will go ahead and get it attached to its inside lining, and then I'm going to do my foam sandwich with the interior front. All right. Trim up our threads. A little bit up here. Our front pocket is completed. Yeah. So I guess that's the front panel, really. This pocket goes all the way down. Slip pocket, a key ring, or a swivel hook for whatever she wants to hook on there. 2 front pockets. And then another one. So that means we are ready to move on to the next step. And the next step is gonna be, let's see. Ooh, the side panel. This will be fun. So for our next step, we're going to work on the side pockets as well as swivel hook connectors. Once that's done, we'll just set that aside for later. I've already marked all my pieces and added double-sided tape for what I needed. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Oh, I did decide, I was unsure if I should do the bag feet on this, since it is a school backpack. However, this is a very pretty pink bottom, and I think, you know, we want it to last as long as possible, so I am going to do some rainbow bag feet. And I'm going to go ahead and make my swivel hook connector and prep this part as well, and then I'll show you where I'm at. So I folded the long piece into the centers where I had it marked, and then I top stitched down both long edges, and then I cut it in half and created the D-rings. And then for the top portion of the pocket where the elastic goes through, I folded into the marks as well, and then top stitched the sides, and then basted these long edges together. The elastic will go through here. So I've got one left to do. Do that one right now. Okay. Clip onto the threads. There we go. And so now that those are done, we can move on to actually the bag feet. And the way that I'm going to do this, I have marked the position of the bag feet already. So I'm just going to use those marks for the outer bag feet positions. I will not be able to use this for the center one because I have the whole thing stabilized, and it's a firm stabilizer, which means that I'm not going to bend through that. So what I will do for that one is simply use an awl. And I'll just poke right through so that comes through the other side, like so. And then take your bag foot, poke it through the hole. Now, I know that there's a lot of different ways to put these washers on. I find that it is easiest just to use the hole in the center. And then what I do is make sure that my prongs are facing the sides and not this way, because I don't want them going towards the edge. So we're going long ways, and we just open that bad boy up in each direction. And then what I will do to make sure that this prong never does any damage to the lining of the bag is I will use some duct tape. And at this very moment, I'm not sure where my duct tape is. So I'm going to go ahead and get all these on, and then I'll come back. So down to our last little piece of duct tape here. And I kind of have to laugh at myself because that duct tape I couldn't find was right where it belonged. So that's our bag feet all attached, rainbow and pretty. And now we are going to move on to making the pockets. And this is actually my absolute favorite pocket. It's just a great design. It really is. And it holds a very large cup. I have a 20-ounce cup that I use. I think I showed it in my last video too. I take that cup with me to work every day, and it fits in this pocket just perfectly, and it's a tall cup. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and set this piece aside for the moment, and we're going to get to work on our pockets. I'm going to baste the elastic band tab to the exterior of both pocket pieces, and then I will go ahead and put the lining piece right side together, flip them out, do all the things. I've actually sewn both pockets together like this, and then I went ahead and did the next step, which is this. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do this same thing to this pocket, and then we're going to start getting them attached to the side panels. First pocket is done. It's pretty phenomenal. Just to give you an idea, this is a 16-ounce bottle of Dr. Pepper Zero, and it almost completely fits in that pocket. So it is a fantastic pocket. I am going to go ahead and repeat all my steps of basting, pleating, and securing the elastic on the second one, and then we'll be able to move on. Both pockets are now assembled and ready for the next step, which is to get them attached to the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and do that. That is the bottom part of the bag and the lower sides ready to go. And I'm going to set this aside, and I'm going to work on the zipper gusset. We are ready to start work on the zipper gusset. So I have got my zipper with 2 pulls already on there. Again, won't be dealing with any double-sided tape or sticky tape or anything like that for the zipper. I will, however, be using some for here. All of these pieces will become the zipper gusset. We've got a bigger part of the top as well as a smaller part that kind of is in the front. And then of course the top, we've got a handle, and yeah, I'm gonna start with the handle. So ready for me to stitch a line down the center of that. And yeah, I think it's pretty neat how that comes together. Of course, you'd have to consult the pattern because this is not a tutorial, and I'm not giving away any secrets, but I think it's really cute. So I'm going to stitch this up, and then I'm going to attach it to the top. My handle is done. This sits at the top of the bag, and now I'm going to attach the two side pieces that go to it, and this is directional, so I need to be careful that I don't do it upside down because that would be a bummer. I'm going to go ahead and get those attached and show what it looks like. That is now all together, and I actually did add rivets here just as little added strength, plus it's pretty. And now that that is done, I can actually proceed with constructing the rest of the zipper gusset, and we're going to start with the actual smaller side of it, get that sewn to the zipper, wrong sides together, top stitch and baste, and then we'll get the bigger side attached. And yeah, once all that's done, I'll check back in and show you what it looks like. That is the finished zipper gusset. So when you look at it from the side, if you look at it from the top, she's cute. I made sure that the handle was the same direction as the bottom part of that gusset. And on to the next step. So our next step is to finish constructing the gusset. We've got our top part, our bottom part, our lining for the bottom. That lining is already attached, so we're good there. And this is where our swivel hooks come back into play. So I am going to go ahead and get all these together, and then we'll take another look and see how it's going. I am so happy with how this is coming out. If that's not the stinking cutest thing. I'm not a girly girl. I don't do pinks and purples. But my goodness, how cute is that? Sweet, the gusset is now complete. So for our straps, we have exterior lining, foam to make them padded, straps, ladder locks, I think these are called, and yeah, pretty straightforward. Sew around most of the pieces, right side together, leaving an opening to fit the foam. And somewhere I heard, it might have been another video or something, that these straps, they do not recommend going all the way around and trying to feed it out. And I agree. Don't ask. Yeah, but I agree. So I'm going to go ahead and get these straps done. Straps are done. We are ready to move on to the next step, which is the back panel. And that will include the straps being attached, the strap connectors. This is the bottom part of the strap that you adjust the size on. We've got a back pocket, we've got a hook. A lot going on with the back of this. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and dive right on in, starting with the back strap connectors. Strap connectors are done. And next we are moving on to the bag hook, which is literally just fold into the center lines, fold it in half, and then top stitch all the way around. Okay, so I have used double-sided tape, and I have left a gap. You can see my line there, and I did that on purpose because now when I fold this over, there's not a lot of bulk on that edge. Now I'm just going to go ahead and top stitch it all the way around. That is done, and top stitched all the way around. I didn't have to do these ends, it just made it easier to just go all the way around. Next up is going to be the back pocket, zipper pocket, and yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get that done and show you what it looks like. For our next step, we are going to attach the back strap, which will cover the raw edges of the hook as well as the straps. And I've already measured out, marked, folded down, marked my measurements here, and I also had to redo this piece. I don't know where the first one went, but I cut a new piece and went ahead and remade it because nobody's got time for that. So I'm going to go ahead and get this attached, get these put in place and also attached, and finish this part up, and then I will show you what it looks like. Sometimes things come out so well that you just can't help but to be happy about it. Our back straps have been added along with the loop, and the next thing to do is to add on our actual bottom straps. According to the pattern placement, I will do that, and then we will make another foam sandwich. This is the very back lining piece, which is for the laptop compartment. So I'm going to go ahead and get my straps attached, get this basted together with the exterior back, and then we'll see what it looks like again. We are officially attached, which brings us to our next step, which is our gusset for the back laptop tablet compartment. I will do that, but of course I have to share with everybody. I found the piece that I was missing, because isn't that how it always works? I guess I will save that for another project. I'm going to go ahead and get this gusset put together. The gusset for the laptop compartment is complete, and we are ready to start final construction. And that first step is going to be to get this gusset attached to this bag, and then this back, and then cover the edges with fold over elastic. I have attached the gusset to the very back panel, and I have got the fold over elastic completely sewed on around it. And now we're going to move on to the next step, which is attaching the back to the other piece that has this same lining. So I'm going to jump on that. I now have the back and the interior pocket, interior back sewn together. This is officially our finished laptop tablet pocket, and the next step is to get this attached to the gusset. Once I have it attached to the gusset, I'll flip it to make sure everything looks good on the seams, and then I will use some more of the fold over elastic and bind the seams. Normally I would sew with the gusset side up, but in this case this bag is so big and wants to just curve in like that, so I went with it, and I'm going to basically sew it like this, in round from this side. And then I'm going to use fold over elastic to conceal the raw edges, and then we'll see what it looks like then. That was tough. I decided to go ahead and change out my needle because there's some very thick seams here, and then I promptly bent it. So I had to change it again. But I got through it, and I'm ready for the final panel to be attached. Baste it in, fold over elastic, and after that, the final step should be finishing up the straps. We'll see how it goes. Woohoo! We're on the final step. This is all basted together. Last step, bind it with the fold over elastic, and then we'll be able to turn it out and see how it looks. It's all sewn up, looking good, and we can turn her out now. There's a lot of stabilizer in this, so it is a bit stiff. I've heard you shouldn't be afraid to smoosh your bag. Probably could have used a hairdryer to soften it up a little bit. We're getting there. There we go. Push out our corners. Oh yeah. That looks great. Oh, I couldn't be happier. All right. Just got the back pocket. Good. Yeah. Only thing left to do is to finish up the straps. But yeah, quite happy with how that came out. I really hope that the little girl that's getting it likes it. And yeah, I'm going to finish up these straps and then I'm going to call it a night. But thanks everybody for watching. And if you like it, share it with other people. Maybe they can, you know, get a little something, learn a little something. If I can make it, even though it's tough, anybody can make it.